A very good evening. Thank you so much for making time to be with us. This being the 10th of September 2014, my name is Wavinya Wanyasa. And we kickstart by wanting to know your thoughts on the security situation. The question is, do you think the security situation in the country has improved? Do you think the security situation in the country has improved? SMS us your thoughts to the number 20058. That's the SMS number 20058. And we will get to sample them in our subsequent bulletins. In the headlines, Kenya tops Africa in internet connectivity. Government challenge to improve Kenya's business environment. And we feature Teresa Norris, one of Kenya's most loyal tourists. Welcome. Now, Kenya currently leads in internet connectivity with fastest speeds and some of the lowest internet costs. According to the report released by Liquid Telecom Kenya, the country has more undersea cables than any other nation on the East African coast, a situation that has also been critical in Kenya's emerging internet leadership. Here's more on that story. Kenya has achieved a confluence of infrastructure and provision that has positioned it with the highest growth in internet take-up compared to income per capita in Africa. With government support having been directed at increasing access and participation by more carriers, stakeholders in communication sector feel that Kenya has the potential to even compete with the developed countries in internet connections.
Kenya is a fast adapter, I would say. You're definitely amongst top three in Africa in terms of internet penetration and access speed. So I think from the last 5 years I've been coming here regularly, I see a huge improvement. All the investment going into the ground like Liquid Jamil, Access Kenya, Kenya Power, a huge investment which are improving the overall connection and speed. So that's very good.
Amongst the things that have been critical to Kenya's emerging internet leadership include the localization of internet connections through the Kenya Internet Exchange Point. This allows local internet users to interconnect locally without traffic being pointed back to the US or Europe. Kenya also has more licensed international gateways than any other country in sub-Saharan Africa. What does Kenya therefore need to be ranked as the leading country in internet connections in the world?
Kenya should actually just borrow a leaf in this way. I kind of feel that the government needs to lend more support to the operators. That will be the first major thing. Secondly, not only do the operators get the support from the government, but they should try and subsidize the kind of internet speeds connection. Like for instance, a good case in study, you have a very good smartphone, but the speeds are really pathetic.
The report, released by Liquid Telecom's fiber network, which connects East African countries to each other and the rest of the world, is now a big boost to the country's economy as more investors are expected in the telecommunication industry. With the rise in its internet take-up, Nairobi now joins Johannesburg as one of Africa's 2 regional internet hubs. And still keeping it Kenyan, the country is known for its diverse beauty, wildlife and culture that actually attracts tourism within the country. However, the sector has been plagued by numerous stern travel advisories following the terror attacks that have been in place in different sectors in the country. That said, did you know that there are tourists who are still very loyal to the letter despite the numerous warnings? We take a look at that.
Meet Teresa Norris. Her dedication and love for Kenya is perhaps testimony to the old adage that love conquers all. At least twice every year, Teresa sets on a journey. And for about 18 hours, she travels over 14,000 kilometers from Seattle, Washington to Nairobi, Kenya. And she has been doing this for nearly 2 decades now. So passionate is she about the sights and cultures in Kenya. the best south of the Sahara, you will argue, that she braces herself and the deadly terror attacks and travel advisories.
Two things bring me. One is some of the work I do in rural communities with an organization called Women's Enterprises International Kenya, or WAY Kenya. We work with women in the countryside, helping them get access to clean water and to improve their quality of life. And that's the reason I came here in the beginning. But now I come here because of my friends, the friendships that I've developed over the years, because of the people I've met, and just because I love Kenya.
Currently, the president of Women Enterprises International, we sought to find out what particularly drives her back to our motherland, a second home for her.
I think the first thing I love about Kenya is the people. The people I have met are so warm and generous and welcoming. There's nothing like being received by a group of women in the countryside with singing and dancing, which I would never encounter at home. And I have an opportunity to dance, which is just something I love to do. And it's always great to come back and see people that you have developed friendships with over a number of years. In addition to that, it's beautiful here. The countryside is beautiful. There's so much variety, from mountains and green lush forests to dry, more arid areas to the coast. There's so much to see. And I think personally, for me, it's also the mangoes.
Samton Njoroge is the owner of Africa World's Holidays, a tours and travels company. And for the last 9 years, he says he has worked as a tour guide and driver. Njoroge has observed hundreds of tourists who visit the country up to 3 times a year, in good and in bad times.
I actually deal with the missionary tourists. These are the loyal clients that have actually worked the last 6 years, and they have been coming all the way through. Whether there is travel bans, whether there is travel advisories, they are always coming.
I would tell them that if they're wise about where they travel, Kenya is a great place to visit even now. Of course, if there are activities going on, whether it has to do with the elections or it has to do with insurgents coming in from other countries, if you're aware and you follow the news and you're a wise traveler, Kenya is a great place to come. And it's an amazing place to visit, not only for the people and the countryside, but for the animals. I mean, you can't beat the safaris here.
With over 50 national parks and reserves and at least 500,000 tourists from all over the world visiting every year, Kenya remains Africa's top tourist destination. The challenge still lies on the sector players to brace the otherwise considered harsh perceptions in visiting Kenya in order to attract more tourists.
And just to remind you, the question that we had asked earlier, do you think the security situation in the country has improved? Do you think the security situation in the country has improved? SMS us your thoughts to the SMS line 20058, that is 20058, and we will get to sample some of your thoughts in our subsequent bulletins.